Hey everyone, Erica Thomas here, and I'm coming to you today to talk about Chapter 6 in Sarah Robbins' book, Rock Your Network Marketing Business. And today's topic is power presenting, okay? So as you can see, I'm at my kids' soccer practice, so bear with me, all right? You gotta work this business in the nooks and crannies of your life. Okay, so I have notes in front of me, so if I happen to look down at some point, it's because I don't want to forget anything important. Chapter 6, Power Presenting, is all about telling your story, okay? So Sarah Robbins wrote in her book, Facts Tell, Stories Sell. And this is so important, okay? People don't want to hear about all these facts and figures. People want to hear your story because they want to know that you're relatable. They want to see that this is something that they can do too, something that's achievable for everybody. So when you're doing your presentations with people, don't give them facts and figures. Give people your story, okay? So what I want you to think about, and I want you to pay close attention to these questions that I'm about to give to you because you're going to need them later for your challenge, is when you're coming up with your story, really practice it and write it down. Figure out what it is that you want to say to people, because it can be challenging to share your story at first. It feels a little unnatural to some people sometimes. I remember being really self-conscious telling my story to people and kind of fumbling with my words and not knowing what I wanted to say and what I wanted to highlight and what the important parts were of my story. So I want you to think about these things. I want you to think about, who are you? What's your background? Why did you choose Plexus? Why did it interest you? Was it the business? Was it the products? Was it getting, the products at a discount? Who are you and why Plexus? Okay, so just to give you a little bit of an example, I was a teacher and I was very tired and I was broke, and what really interested me about Plexus and signing up as an ambassador was getting my products at a discount. I was tired, I was overweight, and I was broke. So I wanted to get my products as cheap as possible so I could get some energy and lose some weight. Okay? And then I want you to think about, what kinds of results have you seen with Plexus, or are you going to see? What are you aiming for? If you're new to the business, you may not have the results that you want yet. As far as your health or your financial testimony, your business testimony, but that does not mean that you can't share what you're aiming for with people, okay? Share what you're shooting for. People want to hear that. And if you do have results, share your testimony and make sure that you're sharing both the product testimony, your health testimony, and the business testimony. You want to make sure that people get both sides from you. Okay? Another question you want to ask yourself is, what has excited you the most? What is the most fulfilling part of Plexus? What are you most passionate about? So really take some time to think about that. For me, the most fulfilling part, I'm the type of person that likes to help others. I was a special ed teacher, and so it's just in my nature to like to help people. And so to me, I love helping people improve their health. It makes me super happy when I get a text message from somebody that they're seeing amazing health benefits from Plexus. I love helping my friends improve their financial situation, because I can totally relate to what it was like to struggle financially for quite some time. And so that's something that really fills my cup, and I'm passionate about it. I'm excited about it. It's something that keeps me wanting to continue working my Plexus business. And so it's going to be different for everybody. So you need to think about what fulfills you with Plexus, okay? And then I want you, after you've thought about all this, sit down, figure out your complete story, and write it down, okay? Put it down on paper, and you can go back and reread it and revise it. The teacher in me wants you to go back and edit it until you think it's perfect, okay? And there's more to power presenting than just telling your story. After you tell your story, then you need to move to the next step. I want you to invite people to events or three-way calls or three-way chats with your sponsor. Make sure that you're, following up after you tell your story. Don't just tell your story and leave it at that. You need to follow up and take action and invite people to something, okay? So something that a lot of people have seen success with, and I'm excited to start trying this in my own business, is three-way chats. So the way it would work is, if somebody, let's say one of my level ones signs a new ambassador. Then they would say to their new ambassador, hey, I'm going to add Erica to a 3-way chat because she's a product expert and she'll be able to help you figure out everything you need to know about these products. And obviously, depending on why they join the business, you might tweak your language a little bit, but do not give them a choice, okay? You tell them that you're gonna do it. By the time they've responded, you've already added me to a chat, and we will get a conversation going. What this does is it builds belief by introducing third-party validation, because they'll be hearing about Plexus from someone other than you, which is great. People have different ways of speaking, they have different ways of presenting things, they'll feel supported, and so this is something that's really important. Like I said, I'm excited to implement it in my own business. I have not done so yet, so I'm not going to tell you that I've done it when I really haven't, but it's something that I'm really excited to do. And I think it would be really beneficial because some ambassadors swear by this. They say that this is like the silver bullet to their business, is doing these 3-way chats or 3-way calls with the new ambassadors on their team. Okay, so again, you're going to invite somebody. Your next step is invite someone to an event. You're going to invite them to a 3-way chat or call with your sponsor. And you're going to get the conversation going and get that third-party validation built in, okay? So there's something that Sarah does not mention in her book, but it's important to mention because part of presenting and being in network marketing is learning to read people and understand people's cues. So what I want you to do is, as you're presenting your story to people, I want you to look for clues about what interests them. What is someone's buying criteria or their interests? What makes them tick? What's going to make them pull that trigger and say yes to Plexus? And then once you determine what that is, that will then determine and guide how you present your information to them. Okay? Like my little notebook. I got my notes with me. So if you haven't read Al Schreider's book about the 4 color personalities, I recommend that you purchase it and read it. It's a great read, it's short, but it will really give you a lot of insight into different personality types and what the motivators are for each type of personality, because all people fall into one of those categories primarily. I mean, some people have different characteristics from the different colors, but everybody has one dominant personality. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about that book because this is a training for Sarah Robbins' book. But if you have not read that book, I highly recommend it. So go ahead and get yourself a copy of Al Schreider's 4 color personalities. And this will help you really understand people's motivators. Okay, you need to make your power presenting very personal to people, and you need to be an active listener. And while I want you to tell your story, I also want you to sell Plexus on their level, not your level. Okay, I want this to be something where you are actively listening to what people are saying. You're looking for clues about where people's motivation lies, what their needs are, what makes them tick, what's going to make them want Plexus, how will Plexus help them. And then I want you to tailor your story in order to meet their needs. It's still your story, but you can tailor it, okay? You can emphasize certain things. Like if I know that somebody's really looking for weight loss, then when I'm sharing my story, I'm really going to emphasize my weight loss with Plexus. If I am talking to somebody who really is struggling financially, then I'm really going to emphasize my business testimony and my success and how I was able to retire from teaching at 31 years old. And so you need to be kind of a chameleon in the sense that you're going to be able to change your presenting style depending on who you're talking to, okay? So Sarah talks about 5 keys to presenting in her book, and I think that they're important for us to go over and talk about how they apply to Plexus. So the 5 P's are partnerships, products, program, pay plan, and the last one is positioning and timing. So I'm going to go over them one by one. The first one is partnerships, and this really has to do with what is this company all about? What is your team all about? What happens on your team page, and what kinds of events do you have? Do you have weekly trainings? What kinds of things does Plexus do? What do we offer that will help people to be successful? What kind of partnerships do we create with our new ambassadors in order to help lead them to success? So you're going to want to be able to articulate what those partnerships are in terms of your team and our company. You know, we have the Success on Demand Through Plexus, we have our opportunity trainings. We have tons of things. We have our convention, we have Super Saturday, we have the diamond documentaries that are sent out to people, we have the calls that are done weekly, we have tons and tons of stuff that corporate does. And then what does your team do to create partnerships and help the new people on your team be successful, as well as the veterans on your team? What are you doing to form those partnerships and build those bonds? Number 2 is products. Always tell your story first instead of talking about facts and figures when you're talking about products. You know, if I'm telling people about Slim, I'm going to tell them how it's personally helped me instead of breaking down all of the ingredients and giving them all the nitty-gritty facts about the product. Because, you know, people will relate more to your story. It will touch their heart. It will make you relatable in a way that giving people facts and figures just won't do. So, you know, tell people your testimony where the products are concerned. And if you don't have a testimony yet, that's okay, because we have tons of people on our teams that we know their Plexus testimonies, and you can tell other people's testimonies. People will be gracious with you if they know that you are new to the company and that you don't have your testimony yet, that you are not where you want to be. But you know tons of people who have had success with this company and the products, and so you can share that. I'm encouraging you, if you don't have your own testimony, share somebody else's, because there's somebody that's going to be able to relate to that, and this is what's really going to get people interested in learning more. So remember, lead with your story. Number 3, program. This is going to be our incentive trips. You're going to talk to people about Hawaii. You're going to talk to people about the Diamond Trip, about the Plexus Lexus program. You're going to talk to people about Leaders Retreat and all of the cool things that you can earn. So this is where you talk about the program and what people can earn through Plexus. Okay, we have tons and tons and tons of stuff. It's amazing. We all know that we're working towards a lot of that as we speak. So make sure that that's something that you're able to speak on, even if you have not personally earned it yourself. Okay, number 4 is the pay plan. Don't give people all of the details about the pay plan unless they're really money oriented, if that's kind of the cue that you're getting from them. But facts and figures really aren't important at this point. What really is important is how will it benefit them. I really want you to use strong language when you talk about this. Talk about how it's benefited you. If you know somebody who is struggling to pay for their kids' daycare, then you know, you might say something like, think about how an extra $200 will help pay for little Susie's daycare. Or, you know, a struggling family might need help paying for groceries. So how could this money benefit you? You know, think about, you wouldn't have to struggle to pay for groceries anymore. You'd be able to buy groceries for your family and not have to worry about it. You wouldn't have to put your groceries on a credit card anymore. And tell your personal testimony, if you have one, about how Plexus has helped you financially. Something that's been huge for me has been sharing my personal business and financial testimony with people, because like many people, when I started with Plexus, we struggled financially. You know, I used to sell stuff on Craigslist at the end of the month because we didn't have money for groceries, and I didn't have money for Christmas presents, and we were drowning in credit card debt. And to be able to tell people that I've been able to quit my teaching job and work my Plexus business full-time and make a career income, and my family does not go without, and I'm actually earning more now than I was when I was teaching, is very, very powerful. And that's more powerful than talking about the pay plan details in and of themselves. Okay, number 5 is positioning and timing. And I think this is really, really important. This is where you're going to build belief. This is where you will create a sense of urgency. And that's super important when you're trying to recruit someone for your team. This is a great time to join Plexus. And this is something that you can tell people. It's a great time. We have one of the fastest growing companies. We've been in the top 500 fastest growing companies list. Our company is debt free. It's growing at an exponential rate, but it's still a ground floor opportunity. There are still some states that don't have jewels. And so really create a sense of urgency. Now is the time to join. Now is the time to jump in, because you know, this is it for you. This could be a huge, huge blessing in your life, because it really is ground floor. So remember, create a sense of urgency when you're talking about the positioning and timing of our company. There is not a better time to join than now, okay? And I honestly believe that. And if you honestly believe that too, then it will be no problem for you to help build belief in others. Okay, so those were the 5 P's. If you didn't catch all of it here, then go back and read it in chapter 6. And now I'm going to talk to you about your challenge for chapter 6. And there are 3 parts to this challenge. So on top of the challenges that I gave you for chapter 5, I have 3 more challenges for you. So the first one is, I want you to write your story out, and I want you to put it in the comments of this post using the parameters that I presented in this video and that are presented in the book. Okay, so using those questions that I talked about at the beginning, write your story out. Remember, make it personal, make it something that people can relate to, something that will call to people. If you don't have a testimony yet, talk about what you want. What are you hoping to achieve? Or not so much hoping for, but working for. What are you going to achieve with Plexus? What's going to happen? How is it going to benefit you? How is it with your health, with your finances on the business end? This is going to happen for you, so talk about it in those terms. And if you do have a testimony, then make sure that you share it and refine your story so that it's something that you feel comfortable talking to people about and that you're highlighting the really important parts of your Plexus journey. Okay? Number 2, I want you to write out your 5 P's, again using the parameters presented in this video and in the book. So write out your 5 P's and post them in the comments of this video. So far you have to write out your story and post it. Write out your 5 P's and post that in the comments of this video. And then number 3 is, I want you to present the business opportunity to 5 people this week. Okay? And when you're presenting that business opportunity, take this as a time to practice tailoring your story and really listen to clues about what people's buying criteria is and make it personal. Make sure that you're being an active listener, and when you're presenting that business opportunity, tailor your story and your conversation to the needs of the person that you're talking to. So it's still your story, but you might be highlighting different things, okay? So you have 3 things to do for the next week for chapter 6. First thing, write out your story, put it in the comments. Make sure that you're using the parameters that we've presented and make sure that it's very personal. Number 2, write out your 5 P's. And number 3, present the business opportunity to 5 people, and remember to look for clues that will help you tailor your presentation to your audience. All right, so I know that you guys are working hard to participate in these challenges, and I'm so excited that you've read this book with us. And I know that I'm super excited about next week. Chapter 7, Power Closing, and our next presenter. So for now, go out and kick some butt. Make sure that you tailor your power presentation skills, and I will see you all later. Bye.